Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, always. It's a pleasure. Obviously, getting excited for the album release. So, how are you feeling? How's the band feeling?
It's really good. We came from a very busy year. Had some couple of weeks off now, which feels pretty good. We weren't expecting it to be that busy, coming out of the pandemic and everything. So, but summing it up, we spent a couple of months in Los Angeles making a record, and then 120 shows. So the year turned out pretty busy, and
Yeah,
it's
so
good.
obviously good to have you back on the road again, I guess, because it's been a while
Yeah.
for some bands. They're having to sort of skip the road for a couple of years. So, how did it feel
Mm.
to sort of step back on the stage again?
It was incredible. It's the part of being in this band that I really really do appreciate the most. It's where you get that direct response, and you get to go up on stage, play with your best friends, some of the best musicians out there, that I've ever played with, at least. Your own music in front of people that hopefully dig it. So I mean, there's everything to love about it. It was a little rusty in the beginning, but I mean, these dudes are incredible. So that was fairly quickly taken care of, and then it's been a downhill, or whatever you want to call it, or a smooth ride ever since. Yeah, so that was really exciting, and yeah, so looking forward to that. I'm coming down to Australia soon, so
Yes,
that's exciting.
I see that that's part of the big Knotfest traveling festival with a whole bunch of great bands as well. I know you've been down to Australia many times over the years. I've seen you quite a few times myself as well. Um, and obviously, like you've had a long history with the country, and obviously being part of a festival is a different kind of a show. Do you have much of a difference as far as like the festival type shows and your own sort of headlining club shows at all, or?
Yeah, there's a few different things, but they're both awesome because I mean, playing a club show or one of our own shows, like a headline show, is then you play in front of people that actually want to see you,
Mm.
and they spent the time and money on a ticket, so you want to make sure you get as good a show as you possibly can out of it, and you can play a little bit of everything off your catalog, and hopefully you make everybody's evening nice, and everybody go home happy. On a festival, it's more of a showcase in a way, because there's a lot of people there that possibly wouldn't go to an In Flames show, and now we have the opportunity to play in front of them. So
Mm.
you want to make sure you do your best, and showcase the material that you think is relevant right now, and some of the old stuff that you want to make sure people understand your history. But most of it, I mean, I love festivals because I get to see tons of bands that I want to see. You know,
Yeah.
it's really that simple in the end. It's just a big fest. A lot of friends you haven't seen for a while, especially now coming out of the pandemic. But also, I mean, bands that you've been curious about, and you've heard the records, but now you want to see them live too. So I'm
Yes.
excited about that.
And obviously, with a new album coming out, and obviously by the time you come down here, it'll be already out a little bit over a
Mm-hmm.
month. Adding a new album into the set list, is that a difficult process for you guys at this stage now?
Yeah, it's not getting easier. I mean, this is the 14th album, and just by playing one song from each album is probably going to be longer than the set time we have in Australia, for instance. So it's not getting easier, but at the same time, it's a nice little challenge. I mean, we try to mix it up, do some of the old stuff and some of the in between stuff and some of the new stuff. But there's always somebody that's going to go home and say, "Fuck it." I didn't get the songs I want to hear, and other people are going to be very happy. So I think the challenge is to get a nice flow throughout the set. So it's so people, and especially us, are interested and into it the whole way through. So you don't play stuff you're not necessarily connected to in a way. So it's I think that's the important thing: getting the right flow, having that energy up there all the time. So
How do you know which new ones to play from a new album? Like, do you actually rehearse all the songs, or do you just sort of know, like, as you were writing or recording, that this has to be included in the set list?
I think in general, I always consider the live environment for each and every song that we write. It's something that's come naturally over the years, because especially in the beginning, you didn't think about like what you can do with the production that you can't do on a on stage. I mean, the
Mm.
8 to 12 guitars and stuff like that. It's not going to work live, right? You have to. So these things I constantly think about when I write. And when we write and arrange, we have that live think, the just, is this going to work live, and how is it going to be? And when you get that, when I listen back on a demo or like an idea, and if I can already see me playing it live, then I know I'm on the right track. And it's a very fundamental part of how we write nowadays. But getting them, we don't really rehearse. We play so much live, so we do sometimes 2-3 before the start of a tour. We might do 2-3 days of production rehearsals, basically, so the crew can get all the stuff together and lights and whatnot, PA, and then we just might as well jam a little bit. So we do that for a day or two. But so some of the songs on the record we haven't ever played together yet. So it's going to be interesting. But they're all made for live use. So we'll see. Sometime in the future they will all be played, most likely.
Yeah. And obviously with the new album, the writing process, you sort of touched on it a little bit just earlier, but like the process, by the sounds of it, the process, as for yourself personally, it doesn't seem to have changed a lot, or has it over the years, do you think?
I think it changes a little bit all the time, but I think the basic idea is always the same. It's first and foremost, we write music that we want to hear, and that we most likely would find interesting and fun to play, and that's where it has to start, at least for us, because there's no way we can cater to everyone. We hear complaints, or we see complaints, and then we'll see happy faces, and so you get the mix. It's just a taste thing in the end, and the only thing that we securely can rely on is ourselves, our taste and what we want to play. So it might sound a little egotistical, but I think it's the only way of kind of staying true in all of this, because there's so many bands out there, and there's so many opinions and wants, and all these things, and in that jungle, you gotta. I think that what we're doing is working best for us, obviously, sticking to our guns.
Yeah.
So, but having said that, you learn every record, and especially from all the touring that we do, like, okay, this was a great idea in the studio. It's not as good, on the stage because of, I don't know, with cellos or other stuff like that. Yeah. It's nice on the record, but it's kind of hard to make sure it works every time live. Small stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that we're going to take it away from the recordings because of that. But you got to think differently. But this is all. It's more like a craft. I think the general like vibe or inspirational things like riffs and melodies, they come from the same source as they have the last 20 years. And then it's a matter of putting it together in a way that makes it flow nicely and feel nice and hit the right spots here and here, when I'm listening to it, and hopefully that will translate to other people as well.
One of the interesting things that I found listening to some of the songs on this album is there's, I guess, some elements or some feels that kind of throws back to some of the earlier In Flames stuff. I don't know if that was intentional, or maybe you just sort of decided to sort of bring back some of those elements, but it definitely feels like there's some older In Flames sort of vibes on this record. I mean, what's the general consensus with you on that idea?
No, I mean, I would like to say, and maybe it's just wishful thinking, but there's no conscious look backwards, because we have that with us. We've done those records, and I couldn't be more proud of them because they have shaped us into what we are today. And all the live shows and all that stuff, obviously, too. But in the end, I mean, these are tools and ideas that we've developed over the years, and obviously they come from somewhere. So having that to tap into while being current and looking forward is fantastic for a songwriter. Having that deep history and being part of that deep history. So I'm never going to forget that. I'm not going to focus only on it, because it's simply not how it works. And I don't think everything was better in the past. It's actually better now. And the reason why it is that is because hopefully we've learned some from the past. So yeah, if there's elements of that in there, awesome. It wasn't intentional, but it's part of who we are. And if you listen to previous albums, like I the Mask, or go even further, like I don't know, Come Clarity and stuff, you have all the same elements in there. It's there. It's just a matter of different packaging. You know, in the end, it's a different mix. It's a different mixing guy. You might not emphasize the screaming as much on certain songs as you would in the past, and those things might throw you back a little bit to the past when we did that this time. So yeah, cool.
And I can't sort of do this without at least touching on Chris Broderick, because obviously he's sort of come into the band. Was he on this album as well, or?
He laid down a couple of solos. Oh, actually, quite a few solos. Nobody's more proud than me. So it's like we've known each other for over 20 years, and we just never ended up playing in the same band. It's been first time I met him. He was touring with Jack Panzer, and then later on with Nevermore when we toured, and Megadeth obviously, and Act of Defiance. I mean, we've known each other for a very, very long time, and he's always been one of those guitar players that you like. Okay, he's untouchable because he plays guitar 8 hours a day. He's working out 3 hours a day. He's eating nothing but fucking, I don't know, healthy. It's just he doesn't drink. He doesn't do anything, but he's still the coolest dude ever. So, you know, having him when Niklas couldn't join us for touring, his name popped up, and we only had 2 days of getting ready for the tour, and we saw his name popping up there, and it was like, okay, we're good. You know, we knew this is if anybody can do this, it's him. And now having him, you know, shredding on the record is, yeah, nobody's more proud than me.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal guitar player. I've seen him live a few times as well, and it seems like he must inject some kind of new energy into the band in some respect, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, as the live shows that we do now, In Flames has always been a very good live band. I mean, we've been focusing a lot on that. We played a lot live, and it's been very, very important to us to be tight and sound good and everything. So I've been very fortunate being part of that. I learn every show. And the thing is with In Flames also that the people who leave, it's always super sad, but there's always a reason for it. It's usually outside of, it's not about the musical preference. It's just life happens, right?
Yeah.
But it's still, it's a loss every time. But for some reason, we always manage to attract the new players. They're always so good. So it just keeps us getting better. You know, it's the skill level of the band right now it's incredible. It's casting no shadow on the old ones, but it's just never sounded better, you know. So, and that's one of the beauties with this band, that it actually can survive and not only survive but thrive and get stronger over the years, and it's incredible to be part of it.
Well, congratulations on a new album, and looking forward to seeing you down in Australia. So do you have any last words for the Aussie fans at all before you touch down here?
Yeah, we almost made it right before the pandemic. We came all the way down to New Zealand. We had some Australian shows lined up after that, and then the world shut down. Yeah. So we went down there and had a brunch and some drinks, and then flew back home. Almost there, but this time we're gonna make it. It's I can't wait. It's we love Australia. We haven't been there enough, we feel, and so this is a great opportunity to catch up and see some amazing bands while we're there. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. And I guess we'll see you in March.
Yeah. See you in March, man.